Here I'm up here to celebrate Cat TV and Lisa Beyer for her 25 years and 30 years of Cat TV. Woohoo! Expecting us, we're going right in the front door. William, knock first.
Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas, a major reason for the success of Catamount Access Television, or CAT TV, in Bennington is the dedicated contribution of Lisa Beyer, who joined the organization in 1997 and was named Executive Director in 2003. And whereas the list of CAT TV's achievements under her stewardship is lengthy and meritorious, and whereas she helped facilitate the restoration of an historic building to the state-of-the-art television production and transmission center, advanced the service into the digital era, tripled the number of channels, and negotiated contracts to cover municipal needs in several communities. And whereas more broadly, Lisa Beyer has served an effective and unifying advocate for community access television systems before the Public Utility Commission, and has helped ensure that continuity of these services remains an integral requirement in the certificate of public good renewals of large cable systems. And whereas, aside from her vital role at CAT TV, Lisa Beyer is a respected civic and cultural leader in Bennington. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly honors Lisa Beyer for her outstanding quarter-century association with Catamount Access Television in Bennington, and be it further resolved that the Secretary of State will send a copy of the resolution to Lisa Beyer and to CAT TV in Bennington.
Member from Bennington.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. You just heard the reading of the resolution H.R. 8 honoring Lisa Beyer, the Executive Director of Catamount Access Television, also known as CAT TV in Bennington. Lisa is celebrating her 25th year in that position. Lisa was integral and worked tirelessly negotiating the local access channels for all the channels across the state with Comcast several years ago. This ensured continued coverage of local meetings, events, points of interest to our residents in the communities that have access channels. Lisa also is a very active volunteer and member of several organizations in our community. On behalf of the Bennington Area Legislative Delegation, I am pleased to introduce to you Ms. Bonnie Lisa Meyer, Executive Director, and a friend, good friend, in that matter. And with her this morning are her team members of CAT TV. Lily Gardner, who's the operational manager, Mike Cutler, production manager, Jim Byers, production assistant. Please give them a warm welcome. They are seated in the balcony.
Will the guest member from Bennington please rise and be recognized?
Today we celebrate the epic saga about the never-ending dance between the darkness and light, and about the struggle to bring balance to the force. Yes. On this May the 4th, as we move towards adjournment and the completion of the session's work, we face great challenges as we seek to address unsolvable problems that we have inherited from past generations, resulting in a world in which people are out of balance with the planet. So as we continue to try to address these problems, let us be inspired by the stories of resistance and resilience from Star Wars. Madam Speaker, may I quote Jedi Master Yoda? Do or do not. There is no try. And so I'd like to end by thanking you, Madam Speaker, in the Wookiee language of the beloved Chewbacca.
Executive Director for CAT TV or CAT Mountain.
She started when she was like 10.
2 years ago.
Thank you. I know.
It's all
Right
done.
answer.
And right after, and she does a lot in the community, so they came out for the day and we're very pleased they're here. And they brought the sunshine, as you see.
Yes.
So
Coming from Bennington?
No, I brought my black cloud with me.
Oh,
It
I
travels
see.
with me.
Yeah, it was here before.
Oh, good,
Okay,
good.
it's not you.
Well, thank you for taking the time to meet with us. I really
Well,
appreciate it.
thanks for coming up, and
Yeah.
congratulations on
Thanks.
all that time and effort and.
Yeah.
And actually, Lisa negotiated with Comcast when they were having lots of challenges for the access
yeah.
television.
Right.
Lisa was a critical part of that, so we're very pleased and happy because it supported all of the
Yeah, we have to
access.
continue to protect the public access.
Absolutely.
We do, and we appreciate the appropriation that everybody is approved in this year's budget. It's huge for us to be able to continue to
Gotta
do
get the
our-
budget through though.
Yeah.
So I just have to warn you, forewarn you.
Yeah.
Parts of the
There's
budget
a-
that are
there-
little bumps
there's
along
a
the
few
way.
little bumps in the road.
Sorry. Well,
We'll work it out, it's not that part.
It's
not
there.
that part, so there.
As far as I know, it's there, so we're
It
looking
is.
forward to it getting passed,
Yeah.
but yeah, until we can find long-term solutions to our funding, we've gotta find, ways to keep us funded because people are cutting cable and, there's no way, that's how we're funded, but our communities obviously still need us, so, I think you guys know how important CAT TV is and all of the access centers in the state,
Keeps everyone connected, and I hear most often from our shut-ins who can't get to church, can't see what's going on in their government, can't participate. That's a critical need. That's a critical need.
We're happy to do it. Our crew are the ones out there covering all of the government and school board meetings night after night after night. And, if it weren't for them, then we wouldn't have any coverage. So we have a small but mighty team in Bennington, and we love what we do, and we're happy to be able to connect.
You have regular shows on there, I think I've been on a couple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember you coming down on your motorcycle
Yes.
when you were a lieutenant. Yes.
You were part of the, what was that, road race?
Oh, the road race
Oh,
that
yeah.
came into,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, that Hemmings?
Yes.
Hemmings, the Great Race?
You remember that, our rotary working out?
That was like,
That was awesome.
I remember meeting you on Main Street at that point. That was a really fun event.
The Hemmings Great
Was that
Race.
Hemmings? Was that
Hemmings,
Hemmings?
yep.
Yeah, that
But
was
it was
a lot of fun.
Corker.
Oh, Corker Tires?
Yes, yes.
Corker Tires. He was like the.
The Corker guy, he's quite
Yes, I
a figure.
remember he was a
Very
big
good
character,
personality.
Yeah, but I remember you being
Big
invited
mustache.
to that, but of course you've been there other times, so.
And Mike does a lot with car enthusiast type things around the country, actually. so.
There's so much embedded, I'll tell you, but I mean, there's that like underground, almost automotive trade that continues. And we have that across Vermont. There's so many areas that don't get enough attention, but it's there.
Well, we should schedule for you to come down for Hemmings, one of their Thursday night events, because you can't believe they have sometimes as many as 300 cars that come to Bennington from all over, that one night. And
Main Street's closed and the
Main
cars are
Street's
there, yeah.
closed,
You've
but
had a
they-
blast.
A
They
lot
all
of
bring
them
their cars.
stay
Yeah.
for like a couple of days in town. Like I've talked with people from Chicago, from down south, that have driven up just for that Thursday night event.
The only problem, Gary, is Thursday night is Thunder Road.
Oh, that's right.
I'm still trying to race.
Well, you can bring your race car down and I'll love to see it.
Might be the
We'll
only-
we'll
Might be
negotiate.
the only trophy I get this year.
There we go. We'll negotiate that with you. But anyway, we can't thank you enough for your time today.
Yeah.
I do
Yep,
have the
thank you so much.
proclamation that I have framed for you, and I hope we can get a picture of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll-
Go ahead, Joe. All right.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Please have a seat. The five of us, it will fit.
Oh.
And of course, this is Lisa Bynum, our executive director.
Nice to meet you.
William, operator.
William, excellent.
Mike Cutler, production manager. Nice to meet you.
Excellent. Jim Cheers, man. Good spoken.
And a lot of everyday folks don't have an opportunity, and I've been on shows in, not only at public access in Burlington there, but the other one in Burlington. I think there's a couple.
There's
One at the South End.
RTN.
Yeah.
And
Right, VCAN. And the ability for individuals to host a show and talk about some topic and have a local person on, I understand occasionally some people use them for curious outlays of information, but the audience can certainly discern that, and they're going to know if they've got some
And that's really what the foundation of it was. It was,
Right.
to stop the monopolization of where
Right.
information was coming from when cable started, because, the community started getting concerned that they were only hearing one voice that was being fed to them.
Right.
How can we diversify that and have programming that is of the community?
Right.
And so that's what we do, and it obviously in my 25 years it's changed dramatically. With the advent of cell phones and the internet and everything. So trying to kind of roll with all of that and remain relevant in all of that has been challenging because everybody now, Facebook is its own, cable access
Monster.
show.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting, but the biggest challenges really, honestly have been, regulatory with,
Mostly that's federal level.
it is mostly federal, but Comcast coming into Vermont,
Really change the landscape.
right, and we do things differently here, and our governing system.
Welcome. You want to join?
Yeah, I've got a few minutes.
Please.
Come sit with us.
Dave?
Hi Dave, how are you?
We've got a rocking chair that was rocking chair that was owned by one of our lieutenant governors from the late 1800s. I believe.
Oh, sitting it, Dave.
People use it all the time. It's fine.
No.
I'm here every day.
No, it's fine.
Dave,
And
go
these
right
two
ahead.
seats were prior cycle Senate chamber seats. So all kinds of different
Now, why is it that the Senate always gets the comfortable seats? We've got those little mounded things that are like cement mushrooms that you're sitting on, and sometimes when we're sitting there for 10 or 12 hours, it's pretty painful.
I bet.
Yeah, well, that is on a different pay grade than I have.
There
I was
you
never
go.
in the decision-making process. In fact, the institution's budget is being talked about as we speak,
And I'm on institutions.
which is where
so-
resources come
but
and
I
go. So
never
you
wanted-
could actually do something.
I never want it to be that we're doing it for self-serving reasons,
Right.
so, you know.
Well, State House is both is sort of an active museum, so these pieces are all curated, everything here, so
It's
we're not supposed to touch them.
It really
But,
is beautiful.
but back to your topic, because we have limited time.
So,
and
yeah, so, you know, when Comcast came, Vermont's access regulations are very different than any other state in the
Mhm.
country. So the fact that we kind of had a seat at the table for their CPG was huge, and
This is where state laws matter.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely, and you know we won. The PUC decided with us at that time, and Comcast then sued the state and said, we're not going to do what you're saying. So then it became a fight, and we finally mediated an agreement with Comcast, and I always tell the story because it was me.
With a bunch of suits.
Right, oh,
Sitting
yeah.
across.
100%. I had 2 lawyers. They had, you know, I don't know how many, and I remember in the room it was freezing. I got in the middle of it, and I went and turned the air conditioning down, and they all went, "Oh, do you want a coat?" I said, "No, I'm fine. I can give me the air conditioning."
Yeah. I don't need any favors from you right now. Thank you very
And it was
much.
like, and then I think the guys from Philadelphia were like, "Oh," and the mediator looked at me and goes,
I know.
it was very interesting, but, you know, all in all.
We actually are fairly resilient and do things here,
Right.
regardless of gender and other such things.
So it's just, you know, but Comcast coming in, and they still have the upper hand. They 100% have the upper hand, they're going to have the upper hand, but we have to keep making sure that the community interests are still considered. And, you know, PEG Access, as I said, has had to evolve and change through the changes in technology, but the main reason that we're there is still important. And that's what we can't forget.
Well, I would just say if there are, you know, they have the upper hand, but that upper hand is both from just an economic advantage, but also if there are policy aspects of how we regulate the communications world that can be altered, the place where things can be leveled is through the democratic process here.
And that-
So I would hope if you and others within the public access community across the state have small changes that would level the playing field, you work with, you know, your representatives and everybody else here.
And we are, you know, because the funding is directly through cable subscriptions, that's dying. You know, Comcast is moving to IP, there's no regulation for IP, therefore there's no funding for PEG access. So we have asked for appropriations in the state budget, and thankfully have gotten that, which we need, but our.
But I wonder long-term if that's
Our
really
long-term
not very
solution
stable.
is that we're working on introducing a bill that will resolve some of the issues to find
Right.
alternative funding sources through either pole attachment taxes or other things that.
Related
could
to how they operate as IEPs
Yes,
instead of.
so that we could be sustained aside from the cable subscriptions. So that's really what you're going to be hearing. And, you know, I kind of have stepped out of the leadership
Fair.
aspect.
It's a lot of work.
of this.
You've done
You're
it
allowed
for so
to,
many
you're allowed to do your
years, so-
time and pass the baton.
Yeah, so, but my colleagues are really doing wonderful work and working with people here in the State House to introduce a bill. But I hope that you'll be hearing about it soon and that we can hopefully get some.
And make sure that we know so that, especially like me from the Bennington area,
Yes.
can all sign on to it as co-sponsors so that we
Right.
can follow it through and do whatever
I
we
will
can.
absolutely let them know.
Who are your, I'm assuming your contract lobbyists here, do you know who that
Amy
is?
Schulberg.
Amy Schulberg.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a phenomenal
yes.
grassroots organizer, because I would say it's not only the representatives from Bennington, but if this is an effort by all the,
And we-
all the pegs,
Right.
then you'll get
And-
reps and senators from all across the state.
And we are doing that, so it's critical. I think it may be quite an ask at first, because it's really rethinking how
The whole telecommunications is shifting and
But if
communications.
we don't, then, we saw, William and I worked together for over 20 years. We've seen, our last quarterly payment from Comcast
It's
was,
shriveled.
I wouldn't say it's shriveled,
decreasing.
but it was an
Alarming.
alarming change. And we don't know, because Fidium just came into Bennington and people are jumping ship left and
Understandable,
right
yeah.
and
Yeah,
cutting
yeah.
the cord. And, my colleagues and I have been talking about this for, decades.
But now you're really seeing it.
And we're
It's
starting to
okay.
see it, and that's what gets scary. So the funding that we've been able to secure in this year's budget and the 2 previous budgets is really
And
critical.
this coming years is secure as far as.
As far as we know, I
Well,
tried to
chambers.
convince the governor upstairs, but he.
Well,
He let us know.
He let us
There's
know.
a few little
This
things.
issue wasn't going to carry it over the top to get over some of the other
So,
concerns he has.
But I do think
that's
that
pretty
it passed both appropriations.
Okay, yeah.
So it's.
That's-
It's not a negotiating point.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a
Right
set
now,
number.
Right.
they're definitely.
So that really is giving us the opportunity to, bridge this gap until we can find a
I'm
long-term
going to interrupt
solution.
before you
Yeah,
ask
go
the
ahead,
question.
yeah.
I need to go back up.
We
I
can
have about 10 or
picture
15 minutes.
with you.
You are welcome to stay here and continue the conversation.
Nice to see you. It was nice. I hope you enjoyed the
Oh,
resolution.
right here in the door, oh, sorry.
Yeah. I hope you felt all the love.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. And Mary has done a great job at, making sure that we've met with everybody today.
So,
And
Oh,
I know it's
good.
such a busy time, so I feel
Yeah.
bad, but.
No, don't feel bad. It's great to have you in the building.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi, William Gardner, Operations Manager.
Nice to meet you.
Jim Byers.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
And Mike
Production
Cutler.
manager.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so
So
we
you're having
appreciate it. Yeah.
Good day here.
And we've been.
Well, I would love to come down and visit over the summer. I'm going to be around traveling the
Absolutely.
state,
Great,
so
that
we'd
would
love
be
to
Oh,
come by.
we'd love to have you swing in. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Please.
would be lovely.
If they can have one of your cards in a few minutes.
Jim Byers. Hi, Jim. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Mike. Colin.
And
Nice
is
to meet
it
you.
to see
okay
you.
that Mike films?
Sure.
Okay, because
Now you're all Bennington?
Yes.
all Bennington
Okay.
with CAT TV or Catamount Access Television
Okay.
and local access. And,
Oh, this is a
your
comfy
honor
couch,
today
wow.
is Lisa was honored for 25 years of being the executive director.
Because you hear every time.
I know, every time I tell the story, I knock off.
Nice.
And she was instrumental with working, well, shall I say, with Comcast to make sure that their contracts with the local access.
Right.
Mostly
television.
against.
So she was very instrumental several years ago and has stayed with her to make sure those are in place.
I've talked many times with Lauren Gunn to Vivian about this.
So I was chair of the committee that we worked on that CPG case
Yeah.
with Comcast and the PUC and all of that. So good times.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lauren Glenn is obviously a mainstay in Vermont Access. But we were talking to the lieutenant governor, and Mary has done a great job at having us be able to meet with everybody. And we're just talking about the fact that PEG access is still so necessary in our communities. We've had to evolve because the technology and everything that's changing. But our funding is going to, really have a nosedive as people cut cable and all of that. So we're really looking for legislative resolutions to keep PEG funded. So
I'm just wondering, was there any money in the budget?
Yes.
there was, yes.
Okay.
We were very happy that we've had, this will be our third appropriation. So we're calling it bridge funding until we can get a longer-term solution, because
Basically to the streaming.
well, yeah, because our funding is directly
Yeah.
related to subscribers, cable subscribers.
Right.
People are cutting cable, and even Comcast is moving to ID delivery as opposed to traditional cable. ID delivery is not regulated the same way that the cable lines are regulated.
Right.
So that's a federal issue, which is not going to be resolved anytime quickly. So the issue really is, how are we going to fund our organizations that, you know, the legislation, federal legislation really hasn't kept up with the emergence of the internet and how people are consuming you know, their content. But organizations like ours are going to be left in the dark if there aren't other funding solutions. So that's kind of where we're at, and yes, we are in the budget this year, and I think it's for $1 million, and that will be equally distributed through the 24 access centers. So for us, I think that comes down to about 44,000, which, you know, will really go a long way for us. I was also telling the county governor that for the first time we really started to see our funding for Comcast start to take a nosedive. So
Yeah.
but we've been kind of circling the wagons on this for a long time, and it's come to the point where we really need a legislative solution and be able to plan for the future.
It reminds me in a weird way of the gasoline tax is, you know, dropping precipitously because people are moving to EVs.
Yes, and all the things that are funded
Right.
through the gasoline tax.
Exactly. And
Yes.
so, you know, computer technology has revolutionized things at such a pace that all of our funding sources that were based on other technologies
Yes.
So
That's a really
Yeah.
good. Yes. So that's kind of where we're at, and you know, we've been seeing it coming, and now we're pretty much there. You know, people in Bennington, part of the funding decrease that we think we saw was because Fidium just came into Bennington. Everybody is leaving Comcast and going to streaming and all that. So we appreciate all the support. We've had a lot of support, you know, in this building from a lot of different legislators and senators, and it's been great. But you know, it just putting a little bug in everybody's ear to make sure that we remember in our communities, you know, we need coverage of these meetings and church services and all that. These guys we cover 24 live meetings a month. You know, select boards, school boards, all of that, and planning boards, and
Now, do you guys run debates during election years?
we do, yeah.
Because-
We usually partner with the newspaper.
Yeah, there's no coverage. You know, I've been doing this for 13 years. When I started out, there was some coverage from the Free Press and other, you know, stations. Now it's just, you know, public television or public access. So Lauren Glenn's Channel 17, that's it for televised debates. And, you know, democracy has to have some kind of tie-in to the most popular media. So,
Yes.
And that's what they all do best. I mean, they really cover so much in our community. And I think of not only our regular, I don't mean regular, but regular citizens, but those who are shut-ins, they can't get out and participate. They can really see what's going on in the community and participate in different ways. So it's really
So that's our speech, but Mary's done a great job. I really was really honored to be able to have a resolution in front of the house and all that. So.
Any words?
You're on the spot.
You're fired.
Oh, okay, great.